What's up, guys? Welcome into Good Morning Lambo. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on Packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. You can email us, PackersTotalAccess@gmail.com. Text us, 865-658-5824. Join alongside Tim in Green Bay. I know he's got the diesel revved up this morning. A little coffee in the cup yet, Tim, or not? There it is.
Happy Halloween. No, this isn't a Halloween costume. This is just my face in the morning. Sorry to scare everybody.
He said, "Happy Halloween. Sorry your birthday was so lame." Some of you guys got it. Some of you did.
Hey, Clay, I think you got we got that mic issue again. Your camera stole you.
Nice. Let's see what this camera decided to do here, shall we?
Yeah.
Just a second, guys. Just a second.
You got that Halloween microphone on today. It's
all spooky, right?
It's all spooky sounding. I love it.
This is interesting, Tim. It's showing that Snowball's got it. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Uh-oh. Maybe that's my sound then. Oh, well. We'll do it live. Let's go.
Some people got that one too, right? Yeah, it looks like the Snowball's actually not even popping up. This is a big problem here, man. Big problem. So the audio is going to be crap all show, I guess. That's interesting, right? I'm going to dive into the settings. Tim, tell us what's on your mind this morning. Tell us your life story, all that good stuff, as I try to figure this out.
Well, I've been awake for about 10 minutes now, and I'm getting the diesel going, getting ready for the Halloween festivities of the day, which is just giving out candy, enjoying the beautiful fall weather that we have, and then going to get myself some rain gear for this game on Sunday, because it is going to be a slick one out there. But I know everyone else has this on their mind too. Big matchup against the Detroit Lions. This is a divisional game. We're going to break down the week in the NFL once we get this microphone situation figured out.
Let's see if we got it now. What about now, Tim?
Yeah, it sounds the same. We can just run with it, though.
Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Let me check one more setting here. This is why this show sucks. How about now, Tim?
There it is.
Hey,
here's the guy. Here's the guy.
This dumb redneck troubleshooting on the job. You know what I mean? But I tell you, this is the second screw up of the morning. This morning we had the start time set to Eastern rather than Central, and it's funny. The last thing Tim said was 8:30 Central, right, Clay? I said, you got it, and I put it in, and of course I'm on Eastern, so everybody it threw everything out of whack. So we thought that everybody in the show, or everybody in the chat, thought the show was going to go live 8:30 Eastern, and it was actually 9:30 Eastern. So, but it doesn't take much for this old redneck to screw stuff up. The chat is lit. Give a shout out to everybody here. We got Josh Vallantingham in the house, Chris N, Nathan. We got Ron Samble, Deadfish. A couple of names I can't mention for reasons known, but we see you in here. Appreciate you swinging through. Let's see what else we got. Greg in the house. Good to see you in here, buddy. Mike Berry. All right. Good morning, Mike. Donovan Schilling. I've noticed when we do the morning show, we see some old faces in here, Tim. Pretty cool, man. I know everybody's schedule is kind of a little bit different. A little bit, as Coach LaFleur would say, I believe, sometimes people's schedules are
wonky.
Okay.
So
that's a technical term.
Race car bed. He is not going to get out of bed for this show right here. I promise you that too. But let's do this, Tim. Let's give a quick shout out before we dive into all the content we're going to cover here this morning. Let's give a shout out to the good folks over at Ticket King, the official ticket provider of Packer Fan Total Access Live. Wisconsin-based since '92, specializing in Packers tickets. They're Wisconsin's largest ticket source, with offices next to Lambeau and in Milwaukee. Click on the link in the video description that'll send you to their website, theticketking.com, where you can register for free as a customer and go ahead and start shopping for your Packers tickets. Again, that's Ticket King, the official ticket provider of Packer Fan Total Access Live. So, Tim, we got a bunch of stuff we could talk about here. We can start to dive into the lines. I'm trying to hold that off just for another day or so. But any questions in the comments, anything like that we want to hit on as far as the lines, we can do that in real time. But I really wanted to talk about that game day forecast we kind of hit on the last episode here. Obviously, Tim's going to be in Green Bay at Lambeau Field for the huge matchup there, the 3:25 Central kickoff between the Lions and the Packers. And they're calling for rain, guys. This is the forecast as it sits right now. Sunday, they're calling for an 80% chance of rain. It looks like the wind is going to be somewhere around 14 mile an hour. It says cloudy with periods of rain, high 51. Winds 10 to 20 mile an hour, chance of rain 80%. Rainfall near a half an inch. The humidity going to be 87%. So obviously, guys, here's the thing too: the sun's setting at 4:37. I guess that's local time there. You're going to have that long shadow casting across Lambeau too. It's going to get dark. The lights are going to be on when that game's over, I would imagine, right, Tim? I'm sure you.
Oh, yeah,
a lot of
absolutely,
those.
absolutely. This time of year, for sure, afternoon game. I'm thinking, by the time we're out of there, it's going to be a night game. But yeah, a little cool, 50s, low 50s, high 40s, 12 to 14 mile an hour winds, sloppy, wet field. Man, this has got 6-3 football game written all over it right here. I tell you.
Some people roll their eyes when they hear it. I love it, man. I'm
me too.
a big fan of old school football. I think I was born about 60 years too late, to be honest with you. Mandy says that all the time because I'm like, man, I would love to go back and see what it was like in the 50s. Just hit a diner or something. You know what I mean? But
smoking a lung dart in the stands with coach, just hanging out. Everyone's wearing a suit to the game.
The best one, there's an old NFL Films. If you go to The Vault, NFL Films, I think it's called The Vault. And there's like 3 different series. I've got them on DVD. And it's a bunch of stuff that didn't make the cut from NFL Films. And there's one thing where this is like probably 50s, 60s, and they're showing a crowd shot, and this guy's cheering, and as he threw his hands up, his shirt comes up, and he's got a pistol on his side. It was just like, this is unbelievable. And nobody ever got shot. You know what I mean? Nothing ever happened, right? It was just everybody's good. It was unbelievable. I seen that. I was like, no wonder that did not make the cut at NFL Films.
Yeah, but no kidding, right?
Different time back then for sure, man. All right, so obviously, the forecast, that's going to be a big storyline there going into Sunday. Going to lean heavy on the run game, I would imagine. I'm so glad Josh Jacobs is a Green Bay running back because kick that thing down in the four-wheel drive. The way he runs, man, he just seems like he's so – I'm trying to think of traction's the main thing that comes to mind for me. It's very rare you see Josh Jacobs slip, right? It's like I call him heavy-footed, but not in a bad way, right? When you hear heavy feet from a running back, you think, okay, they're slow-footed. Not the case at all with Josh Jacobs. It's just he can plant and go with the best of them. I mean, we've seen it in all the highlights that we showed last, from Chalk Talk, and obviously kicking up the dirt, plant and go, making 2 guys miss, taking it to the house for what was it, like 38 yards, whatever that run was. 38-yarder, I think it was. Josh Jacobs, I think, is the back you want in the backfield for this game. And I kind of feel like Chris Brooks, too. Don't get me wrong. Emmanuel Wilson, I think he's good to go as well. But Chris Brooks kind of seems like a similar – just like he's a good plant-and-go guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. We always talk about speed with running backs. We talk about ball carrier vision. We talk about ball security. We sometimes gloss over agility. You've got to be an agile player to play that position, and that's Josh Jacobs all day. That's why you don't see a lot of wasted motion. You'll see a lot of plays where he may get hit right at that line of scrimmage, but knows how to turn his body, keep the feet moving, and still get a yard or two and turn it into a positive and not a loss. I think Brooks runs like that as well. I think Emmanuel Wilson runs hard and agile as well too. So you feel really good about our guys out there on Sunday because I don't think even the rainstorm is probably not going to slow down these offenses too much. I mean, these are 2 really, really good offenses, but it's going to affect the pass game. I don't care who you are. So there's going to be an adjustment to the game plan. I would anticipate seeing a lot of carries. I think Josh Jacobs had 25 carries last week. I'm sure he'll have 75 carries this week. It's going to be a heavy workload for the running backs. And really cool to see Chris Brooks getting meaningful snaps here, and we'll get another look at him on Sunday and see how he looks. I'll tell you, I like him in the pass pro for sure.
Yeah,
he's a blocking machine. He's a menace back there. So we're going to need all hands on deck to beat the Lions, and I'm just glad we got these guys in the backfield.
Yeah, and the FBI he displayed on that 22 Rolodex there to go down at the end of the game so they could run the clock down, kick the field goal like this. He seems like a great pickup. I hope he's going to be a Packer. It's crazy on the bottom of this roster. There's several guys that I'm like, man, I really want them back next year. Ben Sims is one. Obviously, Chris Brooks is another one. A very small sample size, but you kind of see, man, he just gets it. Emmanuel Wilson, I think, is another guy. His pass pro and his just contributions in the passing game in general has skyrocketed this year. That was his big negative last year, and obviously now he's kind of stepping into his own there. I think that's a good thing. I'm trying to think of some of the bottom of the roster guys that are really kind of popping out to me like that. Those are 2 that come to mind right off the bat. Obviously, Bo Melton, Malik Heath with his blocking ability too. Those guys, I want to see them stay on the roster at least going into training camp where you've got that high floor. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then if you can add something, when I say going into training camp, I'm talking about get them secured after the re-signing period. Get those guys secured to the futures, whatever it is you need to do to maintain rights to them. And then when you go into free agency, you've got a higher floor to work with. Okay, now can we find 2, 3, 4 guys that are better than these guys to raise that floor even higher? Because really that's how you got to this point. You've got these guys like a Ben Sims, you got him over DeGuara. That's the reality, right?
Yeah.
And I know many people still see DeGuara as a fullback. It really wasn't the case in Green Bay. They played him more at wing than they did actual fullback, right? So they tried to convert him to that tight end in Matt LaFleur's offense, which is more along the lines of the Sean McVay offense as opposed to Kyle Shanahan. But
I agree, and that's obviously why DeGuara didn't work out. We talked about trying to put a square peg in a round hole. Maybe some of the things we were trying to utilize him and ask him to do that just didn't fit his game. And it's not a knock on Josiah DeGuara at all. I mean, that dude, talk about a great person and a great teammate. That's the kind of guy you want on your team. But at the end of the day, if he doesn't fit the mold in your offense and isn't executing, then you got to make a change. And Ben Sims was an improvement, a massive improvement, actually. It's fun to watch him out there play the position. And we'll see what happens. We know Matty likes his tight ends. So I'm sure when we look forward here, at the receiver room, it's, the tight end room is going to come into play as well. And we like our pass catching tight ends, but no block, no rock, right, Clayton? You got to be able to get it down on the ground in the run game. If we flex you back there to the wing or even into a fullback look, you got to get it done. You got to be able to be the sift blocking machine as well as the pass catcher. So playing tight end is one thing. Playing tight end in Green Bay and in Tupac LaFleur's offense, it's a whole nother ball game for sure.
Definitely. And as you can see here, let's see, I think it was Adam Block in the chat. Yeah, Adam says Josh Jacobs' yards after contact has really been beneficial. Absolutely. And here are the top 5 rushing leaders across the league. Josh Jacobs is now 4th in the National Football League in rushing yards. He's just behind Jordan Mason, who, man, what a surprise he's been for the 49ers. I don't think it's any coincidence that it's in the Kyle Shanahan offense that all of a sudden you get another young running back no one knows about, and bang, he's right there toward the top. They'll get Christian McCaffrey back, it sounds like, fairly soon. He might be back in time for the Green Bay game. I'm not sure. But Jordan Mason at 685, you got Josh Jacobs right behind him at 667. Obviously, the leader, Derrick Henry, 946 yards. Tim, he has more 20-mile-an-hour runs this year than anyone else in the league.
That just doesn't make that. Derrick Henry should be
impossible, right?
He should just be. Yeah, that's not even possible. He should be illegal. That's not. There's just no way. He's that big, that strong, that fast. Guy is an absolute monster and a freak of nature, and nearly impossible to tackle. So it doesn't surprise me that he's at the top of this list.
Yeah, I agree, man. Randy Cleaver's in the chat says Jacobs gets stronger as the game goes on. He truly does, man. You could see it too, and he took that to heart last week when Jordan went out, and I think he said it after. It was some interview I heard him in. And he said we just wanted to prove that we can win the ball, we can win running the football. I think he said I just wanted to prove that, which is awesome because that's a team leader. Your guy goes down in Jordan Love. And listen, we're all excited about Malik Willis. He has played perfect. And I'm not exaggerating. He has played perfect for what they've asked him to do. I mean, PFF agrees. You look at the passer rating, it agrees. You look at how he's protected the football, how he's effectively ran the football but not tried to force it. Like, everything you need him to do, he has done. But when Jordan goes out of that game and the game plan has to shift a little bit, Josh Jacobs is like, hey, get on my back, man. And I'm so glad that Goody signed him again. Tip your cap to Goody for that free agent signing, kind of making the best of a crappy situation, losing Aaron Jones and going, it got to the point where it's like, we might not get this guy back. Let's go get Josh Jacobs real quick. Again, nobody's happy about losing Aaron Jones, but if you were to say you got to lose Aaron Jones, who are you signing? I mean, I don't think there's anybody else in the free agent market other than Derrick Henry that you could have said that's the dude right there, right?
Yep. And I don't think Derrick Henry would have been the dude for our offense.
Right.
As much as I love Derrick Henry, fun to watch. All the things I just said about him are true. I don't see him fitting into this Matt LaFleur scheme as well as Josh Jacobs has proven to play. So
I think it's a fair point, man.
Yeah,
we play so much out of the gun, and I know Baltimore had to adjust their offense a little bit. He's a really good like setback. Like you come get under center, or at least in the pistol, you want him to get kind of a run and go, right? As opposed to sidecar, stop, start, go type thing. And obviously Green Bay, we're getting into more pistol. We do run ace, but you can tell Matt LaFleur really wants to work a lot out of the gun as well. So I completely agree with what you're saying there for sure. Let's see, Randy Cleaves, we already hit on that one. A couple of players that guys are naming toward the bottom of the roster. Ben Holden says Kalen King. I'm excited. That's a guy we were excited about early in the year, Tim, and we never really got to see him, right?
Yeah, he kind of popped a little bit during camp, and then kind of
faded away, right?
Kind of faded and fizzled a little, during the preseason and stuff. But somebody that's still on the radar. I mean, we love our corners, and we're going to need corners too. We talk about that position. We looked at the injury report yesterday. We got guys that are banged up, some guys that may or may not go. And you talk about that rotation right now between, Eric Stokes and Carrington Valentine kind of sharing reps and stuff. Now is really a great time for a guy like a Kalen King or one of these guys to just step up and demand some snaps of their own and see if they can go out there and make a difference. But I think we're just going to have to roll with what we got now. But yeah, I mean, looking at the depth on this team, it makes you excited. But yeah, I wonder what happened with Kalen King and how it's looking for him on the practice squad right now.
Yeah. And Omer says, yes, King, the 7th rounder, looked good in camp. And again, you see these guys flash and then they disappear. And then a year and a half, 2 years later, they pop up and they're Rasheed Walker, right? It's like, holy cow, we got a starting left tackle. That's kind of cool. So you can tell there's a process, there's a method to how Matt LaFleur and his coaching staff brings these guys along, right?
Yeah, not everyone is Evan Williams, right? Evan Williams just kind of came in. I think he came in, made a mistake once, got yelled at, corrected it, and never made a mistake since. And he's just been crushing it out there. So everybody develops at different rates, right?
Yeah. Randy Cleaver says, you think King could return punts? The way that Kalen King plays, first of all, I'm going to answer that real quick. I have no reason to think he would be a good choice for a punt returner. Now, when you think about, or even a kick returner, but when you think about what makes Keyshawn good and effective at doing that, he kind of plays fearless. You got to have a little bit of that edge to you. And then if you put on Kalen King's tape at Penn State 2 years ago, and then you've seen what he did early in I think it was in the preseason, he flashed a little bit. He's a very physical corner, especially like kind of out of the slot. He does kind of feel like of all these players that are on the backside of this roster, he's one that could be kind of a Keyshawn Nixon type as far as that fearlessness and how he loves to hit in the run, all that stuff. Like Keyshawn's played the run really, really well this year, especially early on out of the slot. But yeah, so I wouldn't mind exploring it. I would imagine, Randy, they've looked at every option, and that's why they're settling on Jaden Reed and our boy, obviously Keyshawn Nixon, the best returner in the game.
Do you think that the fact that Key has stepped up this year and is, like you said, playing better in these run fits, I tell you what, he's tackling better for sure.
Oh, no doubt.
I don't know if Keyshawn spent the whole offseason working on tackle for him in drills or whatever, but dude is tackling like a linebacker out there, and I really like to see it. I'm wondering, I guess my question is, do you think maybe that's why they're kind of steering away from giving Keyshawn 100% of these return duties, because he's playing so many snaps on defense and we're asking him to do a lot more than we did last year? I mean, he's definitely playing more defensive football than he did last year, whether that's boundary or slot,
It's a great point. And not only that, I'll take it a step further, too. I think you make a great point, but a step further, when you play him as the outside corner, the game plan is built around him being on the outside, him and Jair. So if he gets hurt returning a kick, now that game plan goes out the window and you're throwing in. I mean, you've seen it with Evan Williams going out. They had to throw him back to the slot and bringing it up. You know what I'm saying? So there's probably a little bit of that too. But I think the snap count, like you said, plays the biggest role in that. Like, hey, he's gonna need a breather here or there. Again, I don't think Keyshawn is like a Pro Bowl caliber player at the cornerback position. I don't think he is like a high-end starter. But I think he is above average at a minimum when it comes to playing outside corner and even in the slot. And, right now that's that high floor. When we talked about the potential players that the Packers should re-sign this past offseason, he was the guy at the top of the list. We need to return abilities, and you need to set the floor in that slot corner room. They did that, and then all of a sudden you're able to draft Javon Bullard. Now he can play in the slot in the pinch. and Keyshawn can kick around, do whatever you need to do. So I kind of feel like we hit that one on the head there. But yeah, I think once you get into the game plan of right now, he's playing outside corner. He's pretty much playing every defensive snap. Yeah, you're going to need a lot more of a breather, obviously. So it makes sense. Omer in the chat said, Bo Melton, the man needs to return punts. He can run like the wind, and he's very agile. That's the thing, too. Now, again, Omer, we talk about this all the time. It takes a different kind of cat to return punts. Like, you have got to be absolutely fearless. I'm not saying Bo is or isn't, but it takes a different person in his spatial awareness. It's also that awareness of knowing what's coming downfield at you. Do I feel this? Do I not feel this? Where's the block? There's a lot that goes into it, obviously. I'll also say Bo Melton as a punt gunner, I see people slandering him because he's missing tackles. Bro, you heard Matt LaFleur talk about it in the locker room, because I heard the slander a couple weeks ago, 2-3 weeks in a row. It was just like, Bo Melton he doesn't need to be the punt return or the punt gunner because he can't tackle. He's running right by guys. That is what they're taught to do.
Yeah.
Is force, put pressure on that guy. It's okay if you miss as that first guy there. The goal isn't necessarily you to tackle him. It's you got to get there as quick as possible, make him uncomfortable, try to force the fair catch or let it bounce. That's the overall goal. And then if he does catch it, you need that gunner to put pressure on that returner to make him miss, slow down the momentum, and here comes the second wave. It's not just about that guy needs to go down there and clean people's clocks. We want him to tackle him, don't get me wrong.
And you'll see those once in a while. The gunner will get down there, and it's a quick wrap-up or an ankle tackle right away, and it's a great play, but that's a bonus, right? The main factor is get your butt down there and be a problem for that return man. You know,
yeah.
Like you said, it's a team game. You got 10 other guys behind you. Hopefully they get home.
Yeah. Yep. And let's see. The other thing too, if you want to go and watch someone who just did it at an extremely high level, made the Pro Bowl every year as a special teams guy. There was a guy on the Patriots, and I'm trying to think of his name now. God almighty, I've said his name 1,000 times. His dad played in the NFL. I can see his face, and I can't think of his name, but he was their specialist, and the dude was just unbelievable. If you go turn on the tape for the Patriots the last 2 years, you'll see him all over. Just go punt team, and you'll see. I can't believe I'm blanking on his name. Slater. That was his name, Slater. If you go watch him play gunner, when I see Bo, kind of see a little bit like, okay, this could be our Bo Melt, or it could be our Slater on that team there. He was team captain every year, just a phenomenal special teams guy. So that stuff matters, man. It really does. So I think Bo's on the uptick as far as the value on the team, and he's another one of those guys that's like, how can we keep his rights and keep him on this roster, right? And it might be something that you end up signing him and go, hey, look, let's give you a 3-year deal worth $2 million per because he's a special teams contributor. He's also that guy. I'll tell you this: as much as I like Slater for the Patriots, Bo Melton, hands down, is more of a contributor on offense than Slater ever was in New England. It was just strictly special teams, so you get that extra value there as well, for sure.
I could see that happening too with this receiver core. Like you talk about trying to keep guys here. You know, how do we keep this receiver room intact? You know, budgetarily and looking at the salary cap.
Mm-hmm.
I look at Bo Melton. I look at Tay Wicks, and there are guys on this team that I think are willing to take deals that are not necessarily stupid, crazy money. And as long as it's not insulting, as long as they get paid, they get off those rookie contracts, they get a little bit more money. I think guys are bought in, and they would love to keep the core members of this team together for the long run and go chase down championships. So I'm not saying everyone's going to take pay cuts, but I don't think a lot of these young guys are going to be as greedy as the typical receiver in the NFL might be when they're getting their second contract. I think these guys are bought in, and they want to win a championship together, multiple championships together. So I don't think $1 million here or there is going to really, steal a guy away from the Packers. I think if they had to, make an agreement to get everybody paid so everyone can stay and everyone can play, I think they're willing to do it. I could be wrong, but hopefully that is the case with these guys.
Yeah. Ben Holden says Donovan Jennings, another guy, right? That again, one of these guys, Travis Glover or Donovan Jennings, we're going to look up in 2 years, and they're going to be that next guy that just got kind of molded on the practice squad, or at least some of them probably on the 53-man roster, I would imagine, but didn't see significant time, and all of a sudden, bang, they're a contributor. Same thing with Jacob Monk, right? I could see Jacob Monk being that dude too, although he is dressed last couple of games of Ironman. I remember seeing him in pads and jersey and everything, ready to go as far as on the active roster, at least last week, I know for sure. So he might be getting closer to, if Josh Myers goes out banged up like he has here in the past, they may end up just throwing Jacob Monk out there eventually, because you don't activate that dude without thinking, okay, there's a chance he goes in the game, whether it's guard or center. I would imagine it'd be center before guard. And if that's the case, they might be getting a little more comfortable with, okay, if Josh does go out, let's keep Elton at guard and let's throw him in there. But Jordan Morgan, I feel like he's taken a step forward too. And obviously Sean Ryan's there's an argument to be made that Sean Ryan's playing the best football of his young career.
I was just going to say, that's the example, the biggest example of what you're talking about here. That's a guy. Here's a guy that early on it was like, what the hell's going on here? What's up with this guy? Is he even capable of playing at this level? We were even asking during rookie camp, and then you saw him improve a little bit last year, but then he made, it was like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. This year, he looks like an NFL lineman. He looks like he belongs, and it's showing up on the tape. And another guy too. Nobody doesn't like Big Sean. Everybody likes Sean Ryan at 1265. His teammates love him. He's a great guy. Always good with the fans. He's the type of dude that fits the mold as a Packer, and it's awesome to see that the on the field stuff is, continued to improve. And he's that dude right now for sure, and hopefully continues to get better as he becomes a veteran.
Definitely. Braden in the chat said, thanks for making the end of the work week a little sweeter. Trying to stay dry out here on the job site in Appleton, plumbing a new school near Appleton North, building America, strength emoji. Hey, appreciate you out there keeping the country going. I know we get a lot of truckers that email me and text me, and it's absolutely awesome. Trucker John's one. Give a shout out to someone else the other day. I'm trying to think of who it was. I get texts all the time, which is a good thing. And we're eventually going to switch over from email completely to the text line. Probably the Ticket King text line is what we'll call it. But trying to think here who this was. I don't know.
This guy, was it? I mean, these guys are trucker. That's a bad mother trucker right there. Truck Norris with Tupac LaFleur carrying all those barrels of yak yards.
Exactly. Yeah, here we go. It's trying to get the name. Michael Herman. So Michael Herman, the guy who won the card the other day. He was the one who reached out, and he's a truck driver as well. So we get a lot of truck drivers, get a lot of blue collar people. That's awesome. I personally, I relate to those people more than anyone. That's how I was raised. That's how, I'm a blue collar guy. I'm a business owner, but the businesses that we own are working with the public. There's nothing that involves a lot of office space, man. Landscaping business, all that stuff, doing side projects like that. So all about the truckers. Appreciate y'all keeping this country going, and the plumbers as well, like Braden here, man, doing the important stuff. The rest of us just sit around and bitch and moan like our jobs are important. It's really not true. So appreciate y'all out there.
Go out there and get in the skid steer and run some laterals, and we'll see who the men are and who the boys are, right?
Exactly. Everybody looks down on the plumbers and the electricians and all that until they need the plumbers and electricians, and they're sitting in there in their little polo shirts in their kitchen, and their wife's looking at them like, "Aren't you a man? Aren't you supposed to be able to fix this?" I'm just saying. So anyway, Jim in the chat says $1 million makes a difference. That player will leave. See Aaron Jones. I don't know the full context of that conversation that was going on in the chat, but I think this is a good point. When that's what made me so angry about Aaron Jones leaving was like, and I understand the argument that, well, Aaron Jones could have given up $1 million too. Aaron Jones gave up a lot of money to stay in Green Bay.
Already. Yeah, he already did that.
So I understand where he finally drew a line in the sand. But at the same time, on the other side, like with the team, $1 million is nothing to the team. It's nothing. And here's the other thing too. When you talk about that $1 million making a big difference to the player, especially when it's guaranteed. If you guarantee that $1 million, what I mean by it's not much to the team, guys, you could tack on one voidable year and make that $1 million disappear over the course of 3 years. And then with the raising of the salary cap, like it always has, it's literally nothing.
That's kind of what my point was with the guys, that not being a determining factor if they're going to stay or go. Like as long as they get their money, right? If it's got to be creatively structured into bonuses or There's a couple different ways they can spread that money out where your salary or your contract may be a little lower, but you're going to make your money on the back end.
Yeah.
And if that's the type of deal one of these younger receivers has to take to keep this core together, that's kind of what my point was, that I don't see these guys, just saying, no, I'm going to go take the, the extra 500K or the extra million I'm going to get by going to play for, another team. I'd like to hope that's not the case, but you never know, right? Money talks, BS runs the marathon. So I get it. And a lot of these young players, you really get one crack at a big contract, right? Especially a young receiver.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. And that's why I never get crazy negative against a player that's holding out for money, because like this is their shot to get paid, and we get mad at the players sometimes because they hold out for more money, and then all of a sudden when that player has 2 years left on their contract and the team cuts bait, we don't get mad at the team. We don't go, oh man, that was wrong. He had 2 years left on his contract. It's like that argument sometimes only goes one way. He needs to honor his contract, but the team doesn't have to. That's why, from the business side, you got to look at it from both angles and go, okay, I can see where both sides are coming from there. But yeah, I'm with you though, Jim. $1 million makes a big difference to a player for sure, no doubt. Let's see here. Randy Cleaver says we need to get Goff off his spot. He's different when you get pressure on him. Amen. And let's go ahead and pull this up real quick, Tim. I'm going to go full screen. And these are the defensive stats according to Next Gen Stats on NFL Pro. And we're going to key in on pressures here for a second. So like Randy's talking about getting pressure on the quarterback.
Look at NFL Pro. They got the old school throwback for Green Bay. I love it.
Sick is that?
Got the 50s logo up there.
Yeah, and they did it the second that last week was over. I noticed it popped on the screen, which is really, really cool.
I love it. That's awesome.
It's just attention to detail, and it matters. So when you're talking about quarterback pressure, right now leading the Packers, Rashawn Gary has 26 pressures. We can go watch all 26 of those pressure snaps. If you're rolling your eyes going, no, they're not. Are they really pressures? We can show you. Okay, so we'll just move along with that. Kenny Clark, 14. Preston Smith, 11. TJ Slayton, 11. Devontae Wyatt, 10. And Kingsley Enagbare, 10. So Devontae Wyatt did not get a pressure last week, according to Next Gen Stats, because I'm pretty sure he was sitting at 10 the entire time. It looked like I think Rashawn ended up with 3. I said last week after watching the game, I counted 4. So I was definitely one off there, according to the GPS tracking with Next Gen Stats. So again, leading the team in pressures, Rashawn Gary, Kenny Clark, Preston Smith, TJ Slayton, Devontae Wyatt. The big one that catches me, not really by surprise, but it's like, man, he continues to do it, is TJ Slayton, Tim. Like, and look at how many snaps, how many pass snaps. Does it show the pass rush snaps? Here we go. So only 83 pass rush snaps. Out of these top 5 guys, he's got the fewest amount of pass rush snaps, and still with 11 pressures. Like, his quarterback pressure percentage is best on the team at 13.3%. Next is Rashawn Gary at 13.1%. And then Devontae Wyatt at 10.4%. TJ Slayton's making a case like, man, get this dude on. We know he can play the run. That's kind of his strength, right? Yeah. With that big body in the middle. But it kind of feels like every week we look up and go, yeah, well, so-and-so deserves more snaps. So-and-so deserves more snaps. It happens all the time, right?
Yeah, and TJ Slayton is a dog, man. We've been kind of waiting for him to get over the hump, so to speak. It's kind of a little bit up and down with him, but he's been way more consistent this year than even going back to last year's tape. And I've seen Big TJ a lot of times near the facility, and I got to be honest, man, that's one guy I don't think I've ever seen him smile. That guy is always game face.
He just looks mad, huh?
He is a big, intense dude, and like you said, the strength is the run fit with him. It's not always just the pass rush, but you do see him get through, and he can get pressures. And I think a lot of that is we've always known him as that big, rough and tumble dude. I think TJ's improved his athleticism these last couple years in the league. It's made him a little faster. He's a little quicker off the ball. Here's a good look right here.
Look at my man.
Yeah, looking for work, not getting washed out of plays. I mean, we could go back and look at tape last year. You see him lose his footing or get pancaked there off the snap. We don't see that anymore. This guy is. I think this D-line group, just like everybody else on this team, they're picking each other up. It's no coincidence that Devontae Wyatt and TJ Slayton are both playing probably their best football for us right now. And you see those guys putting in work together all the time, and you love to see it.
Yeah. And the same where Rashawn's having to deal with chips a lot of the time, you're seeing TJ Slayton having to deal with playing this nose. You notice how he's lining up in a one tech. So like right here, trying to think, it doesn't look like there's a tight end on the field. If he is, he's flexed out somewhere. So this could be an over or an under, but you're seeing him playing the one tech. If the tight end was on this side of the field, that would be an over. If the tight end was on this side of the field, it'd be an under. Okay. So if they are just all wide receivers, no tight end here, which I doubt Minnesota was, you would consider the running back side the strong side. So you actually be playing an under look, but nonetheless, here he is in a one tech again. You see him take on double teams all the time, and watch his legs. He just keeps his legs moving. Right here's just a single block.
Yep.
Look at him. Again.
But see, that's a pressure right there. Even getting in there and forcing the quarterback out of that's a pressure, man. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah, and here's the problem. Now, notice this is a great example right here. Notice it's just a normal four-man rush. And there's no one lagging back. Like I know LVN's been getting a lot of slander. We showed you on the tape that last game how he was coming off the edge. And my man, let me actually put us on the screen. I don't know what I'm doing here, Tim. Better be careful with that. So that last game, you seen LVN would engage, and he just kind of played patty cake and drop back a little bit and then act like he's rushing and drop back. He's trying to prevent things like this. Notice on this play here, this is the Sam Darnold scramble. This is one of the only quarterback scrambles we've given up this year. And think back to last year, with Tommy Cutlets and other quarterbacks that just ran all over us. It seemed like every other week when we would finally start putting the defense together. The reason they were running all over us is because you weren't being gap sound from a pass rush standpoint. Hafley is getting more pressure this year than he did last year for the most part, and he's doing it in a way where you're really only bringing three or two or three guys, even on a four-man rush, because you got guys laying back. Now, this play right here is a perfect example. Everybody's kind of pinning their ears back. Look, they're getting after the quarterback. The edges are going, right? Gary's working off the edge. You got Enagbare working off the edge. Everybody's kind of going after the quarterback, and watch what happens, right? TJ forces the pressure, and now all of a sudden, that's what happens. That's why you've got to really pay attention to what the tape's showing. Are they truly pinning their ears back and going, or are they kind of bringing this controlled rush to make sure that those scrambles don't happen? Here's TJ again in the one tech. Look at just fighting through a double team, keep pushing, got a hand on him. But again, what happened? Scramble, right? So let's take it back to the beginning. Let's watch the rush this time. Is there anybody laying back, Tim? There is not. See what I'm saying? You got Enagbare looking to the left over here. See how he's just kind of a smack and watching. But look, LVN, this is a play that I want to see LVN get up the field. I want to see him beat his guy. Okay, here he is beating his guy, and watch what happens. Quarterback's able to evade. Because you don't have that dude on that underneath level that's a part of the pass rush to stop that scramble from happening. So hopefully that makes sense. But again, we just want to show a few snaps here where TJ Slayton's lining up in different spots and actually providing pressure. Now there's a reason he's not getting as many snaps as others. The coaching staff knows. Like, look right here, man. My goodness.
Rashawn
up the middle, you see. And again, Rashawn right here, Rashawn Gary, Rashawn, what am I doing? They're gonna run a TE stunt. He's gonna loop around, and that's gonna take the blockers to free up the nickel blitz, which was Keyshawn. Bang, right?
Yep. Hey Clay, I got to step away for 1 second. I'll be right back.
Do your thing, bro. So again, you're seeing TJ Slayton get back there on these pressures, and this is what we mean by pressures and why it's important to have these. Listen, sacks are great. We want sacks, right? But the number one goal is to disrupt the passing game, right? Again, right here, TJ's being a little less aggressive. You see him kind of playing patty cake. He's that guy in the middle to take away the rushing lane. This is probably later in that game, if I would imagine. Let's see. Yep, fourth quarter, 4:04 left. You see they changed the rush up a little bit. So on this play, you notice TJ Slayton, he isn't just like going after the quarterback. Watch him. Or actually, it was Preston that was lagging back. TJ got the pressure. I apologize. So watch how Preston is rushing the quarterback here. He's the dude who's lagging back. Watch him just engage. See how he's not going after the QB? And watch what happens. You keep him in the pocket, and then you end up getting the pressure right there with TJ Slayton. So TJ Slayton seems to be the guy that they just let kind of gun and go there and get after the quarterback. All right, next snap. I think this is him in a one tech, so he's in between the guard and the center. Here's another one of TJ Slayton's pressures. You see the cheat motion that McVay uses. This is one-on-one. Look at that over right there. Look at that swim move. He's just going to kind of punch and swim. Punch, swim over. Could have been a hold. But again, pressure, force the pass quick. Kenny Clark just absolutely annihilated. I think it was Kyron Williams that he nailed there. All right, Kenny again, one tech. You're seeing it over and over and over, right? Him in the one tech. So he's actually playing more nose right here. So this is what they call shade, just slightly to the inside shoulder of the center. He's getting held a little bit. Doesn't matter. Got a hit on the quarterback. Great job, Evan Williams, man. We need him. We need him to play this Sunday if we're going to be effective on defense for sure. So, again, just wanted to show a couple of those. We'll continue to let it run here a second as we go to the chat and see if anybody else has anything to say here in the chat. I know Randy Cleavers, I've always liked Slayton. Slayton brings – he approaches the game the right way. You never hear him running his mouth. It's just like Tim said, he's always got this angry look on his face, and he's just all business. Here he is again, just continuing to stay upright, fighting, gets pressure. This is in the Jacksonville game. So obviously got him a pressure there. All right, I think that's all. So again, wanted to point that out because TJ Slayton is right there toward the top of the list. He's actually leading the Packers in pressure percentage. And again, you want to key in on, all right, when you got a guy that's leading in pressure percentage and very close to leading in pressures there, as we said with Rashawn Gary leading the team with 26. Don't get me wrong, he's leading by a large margin to 12 more than TJ Slayton. Then you turn on the tape and you go, oh, I see it. TJ Slayton's actually pinning his ears back and going after the quarterback. You'll notice these other guys like LVM, probably they're keying in on his athleticism to go, okay, you don't be the aggressive one here. You engage, and if you can beat your guy, beat him, go. But if you get stonewalled on the first move, fade back, and let's kind of keep the quarterback in the pocket. Do not let him do what Sam Darnold did, right? And I understand people want to get after the quarterback, but we did that last year. How did it work out for the defense? So I respect Hafley that staring right in the face of people complaining about it, he's sticking to his guns because, again, it's keeping us in these ball games. You know, it's you got to be able to play situational. Like Haf has said the entire time, it's about getting wins. It's about getting wins. Would you rather have the win? Would you rather have 5 sacks this week and a loss, or would you rather have no sacks and a win? I'd rather have the dub. That's just me personally. So, and again, the run stunts come into play as well when you're trying to stop the running game. All that stuff matters too. So that's going to do it for hour 1. For those of you listening on the pod, we'll see you on the other side for hour 2. Appreciate y'all. All right, so we're going to try to switch gears here if we can. I could talk X's and O's all day, though, and I love this stuff. Digging in and actually seeing, okay, what's going on the field it always gets me fired up, man. Now, when you're looking at receptions allowed and targets, Keyshawn has been targeted more than anybody on the team. He's given up the most receptions allowed as well, although yards allowed, that's going to Eric Stokes, man. The fact that Eric Stokes has played far fewer snaps than Jaire Alexander and Keyshawn Nixon and has given up the most yards on the team really tells you all you need to know about where Eric Stokes is at on the team. You know, it's tough because it's a first-round pick, but I think we would all agree, man, Goody missed on it. It is what it is. You just got to admit that and move on. I hope they don't try to extend him unless it's something that he's willing to take a very, very, very team-friendly deal, he being Eric Stokes. But we're going to find out as we get a little bit further into the season and into the offseason if Eric Stokes turns it on. Sometimes that can be GM's flaws, right, as they want their first-round pick to work out because that's a bad mark on their record when you miss on a first-round pick and you maybe try to see a little something there that you otherwise wouldn't have seen. But, again, that's your guy. That's the dude that you want to pan out for your team. Sometimes that's where you can find yourself in trouble there. But Jaire Alexander giving up 244 yards on 17 receptions. Obviously, he's given up some big plays, and he does kind of freelance from time to time. You've seen that against A.J. Brown, which it looks like A.J. Brown's back, and, man, he is dominating again. So it's not like Jaire got beat by a bad player. A.J. Brown, one of the best in the league to do it for sure. So, Tim, you just let me know when you're back, big dog. But when Tim gets back in here, we'll hit the chat a little bit heavier. Again, just wanted to hit on some of those pressures since it got brought up in the chat. It wasn't really a part of the show notes here, but I'm glad we did it. And I completely agree, Randy. We need to get Goff off his spot. He's different when you get pressure on him. Definitely, especially with that ankle. You know, as we pointed out earlier, that the injury report, he kind of pops up on the injury report with that ankle. He did not practice yesterday. Now, listen, I think he's going to play Sunday, obviously, but with that ankle injury, you need to test that. I'm not saying you go after that ankle, try to hurt him. I'm saying you got to try to get him off his spot. So you'll probably see a lot of five-man 5-man looks this week as far as bringing 5 on the rush. I wouldn't be surprised by that one bit. So let's see here. Ron Sample says, Rebrovich said they are still working through the change in defense. There must be more to play in these positions on the D-line than I realized. That goes for all of us, Ron. And that's why when we were talking about what this defense is going to look like, we always referred to in the offseason that Hafley kept saying when he was in college and all the press conferences and stuff and the interviews he did in college, he kept saying, my friends in the NFL, my friends in the NFL. That friend he was talking about was Robert Saleh, okay? Hands down, that's the guy that he was referring to. So you turn on the New York Jets tape and they're getting pressure with 4. That's great. That's ideal. That's what you want. But the Packers, they're approaching it a different way. Now, it is worth mentioning Robert Saleh got fired, so it's not like everything was just all hunky-dory there. Now, it seems like their defense has gotten worse since he got fired. There's no two ways about that. But everybody's personnel is a little bit different. You just came from a 34 jam front in your base, and you're now switching to a 4-3. There's going to be a transition period. But when we talked about in the offseason, we're going, okay, what's this going to look like with Hafley? These are the things we were trying to figure out what's going to look like. Now you've got a half a season of tape, roughly a half a season. What, we're in week 8 now, week 9, going into week 9. So, yeah, a full half season, a half season of tape. When you look at it, what you're seeing is a lot of run stunting, and you're seeing a lot of these guys that, you're bringing 4 on this play, but there's only 3 truly rushing the quarterback. The others got eyes on the quarterback and kind of playing that mid-contain. Or when you bring 5, you're actually only bringing 4, and you got that one that's kind of sitting in mid-contain. Now, PFF will call it a pass rush. Next Gen Stats will call it a pass rush because he engaged with the blocker, and he's kind of working up the field. But you could tell they're not really pinning their ears back and going with everybody who's rushing. It's working like a charm right now too. So it could be better. But, yeah, I'm with you, Ron. It takes a little time to kind of understand, okay, when we were going into the offseason, I was saying the big negative of switching to a 4-3 is you're bringing that one-gap approach, right? And you get upfield and you're going to get gashed because you're going to be running right by the quarterback in some cases and running right by the running back in some cases. They really didn't press into that just one gap, pin your ears and go. And you can see it all over the tape. And anyone who says they're not, they're simply not watching the tape. Like, you can see it all over it. You're not – again, we showed you a handful of snaps there. Out of all those snaps, let's say there were 11 snaps, there was probably 2 where you go, okay, they're really pinning it back, all 4 getting at the quarterback here. In those 2, Sam Darnold rushed for a first down, right? So it's just important to understand the little nuances to the defense and everything that goes with it, right? So I think that's a great comment there, though, a great observation. All right. Let's see what else we got. Nick McSwain, Goff is playing like the best quarterback in the NFL lately. Man, when you look at the statistics, the passer rating, it's hard to disagree with that, Nick. He's leading his team to 50 points last week. Obviously, that was huge. They boat raced Dallas, although it's okay, how good is Dallas there a couple weeks ago? But the other thing, too, is like the PFF grade is like a 66. And, Tim, I know we kind of talked about it briefly last night. It would take me diving into a 4-game saturation to understand what PFF's seeing there probably. But this is just another kind of negative mark on PFF. Like, how can he be grading out so low when your stats are that freaking good, man? You know what I'm saying? Like, is the ball just slightly off on every play and they can't give him like a perfect mark? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is it they're seeing?
I would love to know this. And it's not just Jared Goff. There's probably hundreds of players that, kind of show up goofy on these PFF stats, but it also could be just Jared Goff. I mean, Jared Goff's kind of been underrated his whole career. I mean, you go back to the LA days. I think he's been underrated, and now he's playing his best ball. I think Nick McSwain's right. He's playing like one of the best, certainly. I mean, we talked about the top tier QBs last night, the Lamar Jacksons and Joey B's and Josh Allen's out there. But I think, let's be honest, Goff's on the Lions, right? He's on a blue-collar team, smaller stature kind of team. Detroit has just kind of emerged these past couple seasons as a legitimate contender. And I think maybe PFS just kind of treating them like they always did. And he's, putting up better numbers and playing his best ball. He's got that offense humming. And we've got to make him uncomfortable on Sunday. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Regardless of what type of game this ends up being, in the elements, we cannot let Jared Goff sit in that pocket and just pick us apart. Just can't do it. The pressure's got to get there. It's not all about sacks, right? Pressure pick, coverage, sack kind of thing. So we got to play good on the back end, but up front we got to be disciplined and hit our spots. I'm sure Coach Half will dial up some creative packages to try and make Jared Goff uncomfortable. But yeah, Clay, I don't know what it is with the PFF grading because the stats don't lie. The numbers are there for him this year.
Yeah. And when you see, 13 touchdowns, only 4 interceptions, sometimes that can be misleading, right? A lot of short touchdown passes, and maybe he's not effective anywhere else. But when you look at the yardage is kind of there. But the completion percentage, 74.1, and PFF says he's a 66. That's just, man, I don't know. I can't. It's hard for me to get on board with that. Here are all the times that Jared Goff's been sacked. This might be a good way to kind of take a quick look and see how other teams are getting pressure on Jared Goff. So why don't we kind of see what they're doing here? And really, at the beginning of the year, it doesn't matter as much. What I'd like to do is get to the backside here. Let me go and make sure. So here's the Vikings game. Here's the Titans game. These are like I said, all the sacks. Why don't we just go the last 2 games, and it should pick up right there and play along, okay? And let's see what happened to Goff on these sacks. How are teams hitting home? Okay, of course, now obviously Minnesota, they do a lot of mugging. We took a lot out of Minnesota's playbook with the Tampa 2 invert and mugging the A gap. So you see them all mugging right here. Let's see how they get pressure. So they're pretty much bringing the house, right? Just straight up the middle. Yeah, not much Goff can do there. They actually got called for a hold on that play too. They cheated and still lost. So
Goff is that guy that'll, if he steps up or over in the pocket, he's going to get rid of the ball quick. If you don't allow him to do that and you crash that pocket in, that's what you see. You'll see a sack for sure.
Yeah. Now here you're seeing this mugging again, right? Everybody's mugging the line. So you got what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mugging the line. Am I looking at 6 at least? There might be one off the corner there. So you got 6 mugging the line.
And you got safety in the box too.
Yeah. Let's see how many they actually bring. They just changed the protection, right? Let's see if anybody. All right. So a couple of them drop out. So it's actually just a 3-man rush.
See there, like even there, that pocket was relatively clean for him. The minute there's some pressure, it's step up and tuck it and brace for contact, you know?
Yeah.
He's not the most mobile quarterback in the world. He's not.
One play you've seen them fire 6. This time they only brung 3. And with Goff looking to protect the football, right? You know, obviously just the 4 interceptions. Ball snapped, everybody's mugging. Those 2 guys drop out, and you've only got 3 guys blitzing you. And now you've got what, 8? You'll have 8 in coverage. His immediate thought is, oh, crap, there's not going to be anybody open. And then you still hit home because you occupied one of those offensive linemen by mugging, by sugaring, right? Yeah. That's something that what I'm seeing so far, I like our matchup there because Hafley's been doing a whole lot of that. And you got Edgerrin Cooper who can literally simulate a blitz on the opposite A-gap and then get back and cover the opposite hash on a Tampa 2 look. Not a lot of teams can say they've got that. Let's watch this look here. This looks like a 4-man pressure, but they fire the safety, or actually that's a linebacker, isn't it? I can't remember his name, but they use him a lot in a hybrid role. So did the outside rusher actually drop out? Watch 51, okay? So they're showing that they're bringing 4. Yep, they dropped 51 out, and now they're bringing 43. So what that does is give you a one-on-one matchup here with the running back, right? And you see he's probably just going to run right through his face while the other guy from the backside hits.
And this is what – like I was talking about, and to your point, Jared Goff is known for protecting the ball. So if you can put him in a situation like this where you know he's not going to take the super risky throw, he's not going to put the ball in a bad spot. So if you can get him in the pocket there, patting the ball and trying to make up his mind while your pass rush gets home, this is the result you can get against him.
And watch number 90 here, Tim, what we've been talking about. He's not getting after the quarterback.
Nope, he's occupying blockers, man.
Yep. He's occupying blockers and now got his eyes. Okay, if he tries to scramble right, we know the pressure's coming from the left. If he scrambles right, number 90 is going to be waiting on him.
Look at 43, though. My goodness.
Oh, yeah, he's a dog, dude. I'm trying to think. Is his name Anzalone?
Anzalone, I think, yeah.
I can't remember. I get him mixed up. That's Van Ginkel.
Oh, Van Ginkel. Yeah, that guy is a dog, dude.
I get the 2 white boys mixed up. The only 2 white guys that are good at football. And then
don't forget about Harrison Smith.
Well, very true, man.
He's pretty good at football too, but look at that, man. That's a great example of like, oh, I can't get around him. or through him, I'm just
Push
going
him
to
right
take him
back,
with me right into the quarterback.
And he's got eyes on Goff. They're like, you go ahead, break either way. And he's just going to shed off and grab it, right?
If you guys want to know what a bull rush is,
That's it.
this is a great example of what a bull rush is.
Wouldn't have a clue, man. So you're seeing, man, you don't have to fire a lot of guys. You just want to simulate it with Goff, right?
Yeah.
So let's watch right here. Again, same two teams. They were simulating 5 here, right? So you were mugging the A gap with 0. Now he's starting to drop out. Now he's just going to slide over a gap. The center's got eyes on him, right?
Yep.
Ball snap. So they actually just bring 4. And there's that 52 again. You see 52 kind of fading around.
Yep.
Ready to cover if he does go outside. Man, so it was what was it, number 58 that just beat his guy like a drum, spin move on the right side.
And they're rushing 4. See, this is what I think the formula is, and this is why I like Hafley, because Hafley's notorious for mixing up the pressures and the coverages.
Mm-hmm.
So like if you're dialing up, mug plays, and then you are sending 5, or you do send 6, and you are applying pressure, and then all of a sudden you fall off, and you're only rushing 4. You give Goff that time to think, oh, okay, well, the pass rush is not coming. Let me try and dissect the secondary. And then the secondary's covering everybody. That's when you get him dancing around in that pocket, patting the football, and your 4-man rush can get home. It can. I mean, the Lions are a great football team, but anybody's beatable on any Sunday. We know this. So we just got to play smart football, and Hafley's got to be in his bag. And here's the other thing. None of this is going to mean a damn thing if we can't stop the run.
Absolutely.
If he's able to hand that ball off and they're getting chunk runs all day, setting up play action and things like that, you're not going to see a lot of pressures because they're just not going to be there. That run will soften up the defense. So if we're disciplined in our run fits and Hafley's dialing up these overload looks or stunts and twists and getting creative with pressures, we got a chance to really make it hell for Jared Goff back there on Sunday. I really believe it.
Yeah. And this look right here, you're only bringing 4, but notice the left defensive end. He's going to engage and then loop back around, kind of like a TE stunt.
Yep.
And he knows pressure off the right side. So if Goff steps up and out with that pressure, guess who's going to be waiting on him? Yep. The end off that TE stunt. See what I'm saying? Like everything's married together, man.
Good awareness by him there on that play too. You see the tight end engages, and then once he knows the tight end's breaking off here, then he's off to the races.
Yeah. So here we are again. You got another guy mugging up here. Okay, so you're showing a 4-man simulation, and your guy that's in the wide 9 on the left, number 58, is actually going to drop out, and now you're firing the nickel or the safety, whoever 21 is. So you got the protection to slide to the right. That's why you end up with a double team right here. Everyone else is single block, and you're +1 on a hat, or you're at least a hat for a hat, and you like your chances of 21 beating the running back here. I guarantee it. Right? And he just presses him right back into Goff. Now, why is 50 not actually rushing the quarterback? What's he doing here? Watch 50 going to engage, drift off, and now he's going to play contain off to the right side.
Yep.
I'm telling you,
Ron Sandville in the chat with my point being proven here with a great quote here. Goff has rushed for 18 yards on 14 carries with a long of 8.
There you go.
So there you go. Are we worried about him wiggling out and running 30 yards down the field? Absolutely not.
Yeah. Bang.
Make him uncomfortable in that pocket.
Yeah. And really, this gives me a lot of hope. Now, I know some of this is probably kind of, obviously they blew the Titans out 42-14, but when you see how Minnesota and Tennessee have gotten pressure, this lines up with how we like to pressure. A lot of simulated pressure. You see right there, they were mugging 2, and they actually only brung 4, right? Bang.
Yep.
All right, so again, we went down the rabbit hole there. I apologize. But since it got brought up, why not just go straight to the tape, right?
Yep.
I think it's important to kind of keep your finger on the pulse there. Let's see here. Dead pitch again, like you said earlier. I still think Goff is much better from just throwing from a clean pocket. Got to get him to move, absolutely. And you do that with these TEs. You do this with these when you simulate that pressure. That you have to slide to protection, like you've seen on that one play where they slid it right, and that forced 1-on-1s on the left side. So you've got one guy who's going to eat that double team because you simulated the pressure off his side, even though he's dropping into coverage. As soon as Goff sees him drop, it's going to be a split second of hesitation, and that's all the time you need to hit home with that pressure.
Yep.
So, yeah, I like what we're seeing here, man. For sure.
I like Nick McSwain's comment here. Pass rush doesn't matter if receivers are open. It's so true. We can talk about all that stuff up front. If we're not solid on the back end, that ball's just going to come out quick, and you're going to get, yak yards and that kind of thing, or, screens or check downs or leak passes, skinny post, crossers, quick slants at the line. That's how you deal with a pass rush if there's no coverage. Now, if you've got coverage and your coverage is on point, now the pass rush becomes a little bit more relevant because you got to account for both of those factors. I think that's a great point by Nick here.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Everything's got to marry up together. That's the reason we always say pressure, pick, coverage, sack.
Yep.
Typically, if you get a sack, it's because it was good coverage. Typically, if you get a pressure, a pick, it's because you got pressure on the quarterback. And that's why sacks can be misleading. The more important stat are interceptions over sacks, hands down. Now, if you get yourself in a situation where you can strip sack on a consistent basis, absolutely. But 9 times out of 10, that quarterback is going to see it coming, tuck that ball, protect the football, and they're going to live to play another down, or at worst case scenario, gain a bunch of invisible yardage with a good punt, right? That's why the takeaways are so important, man, so important. And that's what I meant in the past when I'm saying, listen, if you're asking me, would you rather have a guy with 10 sacks on the year and 20 pressures, or would you rather have a guy with 7 sacks on the year and 35 pressures? I'm going with the 35 pressure guy.
Yep, me too.
Hands down every time.
Too.
So, yeah. I understand sacks are sexy. I get it, man. It's,
they're great to see
the quarterback get annihilated. I got it. But
yeah. And they're awesome when they're, situational sacks, right? You got that 3rd and 7 or whatever, and they're trying to run a little play action or something, and you get home and knock that quarterback on his ass. We love that as fans, but that's not your bread and butter. You're not going to sack the quarterback every time. You want to make him uncomfortable and get pressure. Don't allow him time in that pocket to get to his reads.
Yeah. Omer in the chat said Packers could win this game, move into first, go to the bye with the Bears on deck. How sweet would that be? Absolutely, man. That's the goal here, obviously. But I'm more interested in how does this Packers team going to stack up with arguably the best team in the league? Like, we're going to learn a lot about this team, and we're going to learn a lot how Detroit sees Green Bay, from a strategic standpoint. And when you look at the numbers and how these two teams shape up here, this is the offensive personnel, okay, for the Packers and the Lions alone. The Packers run 11 personnel 71.1% of the time. Detroit runs 11 personnel only 55% of the time. And those are the team's 2 highest percentage ratings of personnel on offense. 11 personnel being 3 wide receiver sets, okay, 1 running back, 1 tight end, equaling 3 wide receivers. Now, next in line is Detroit running 12 personnel. They run it 34.1% of the time, guys. That's probably most in the league. Let's see, actually 3rd most in the league that they run 12 personnel. What does that mean? We're going to have our 4-3 set on the field 34% of the time. Compared to what we've done all year long, if we were to hop around, we don't even have to. We know that the majority of the teams we face have run 11 personnel. Last week against the Jaguars, they run 12 personnel like 20-something% of the time, right? Like it was a high number. It was higher than Green Bay's 23.4%, which is 15th most in the league. So what does that tell us? A good chunk of the game, 34% of the time on average, the Packers are going to have their 4-3 defense on the field, which means you're going to have 3 linebackers. Quay's healthy now. Quay, Edgerrin Cooper, Eric Wilson, all 3 are effective at rushing the quarterback. If they're going to come out in a 12 personnel, we can mug a lot of these linebackers, the majority of these linebackers in those A-gaps, and get them on the line of scrimmage and do exactly what we've seen on tape right there, where you can simulate pressure from one side, drop them out, and then allow some of these backers to blitz. What you're going to see is probably a lot of 91 drop with Preston Smith dropping into coverage from time to time. So what you're going to see is your left end engaging with the tackle, then dropping back into coverage and bringing 1 or 2 linebackers on the opposite side on the pressure. I really like the way on tape this is matching up. Now, stopping Detroit's offense, it's a lot harder than that, man. They got one of the most potent. I think they got the best offense in the league, to be honest with you, man. When it comes to a point standpoint, they've got to be towards the top. Matter of fact, I could take a quick look here and see. Let's go scoring offense. Let's go points per play. Detroit is number 1 in the league in points per play at .543. Now, if we go points per game, which you guys know I like points per play over points per game, But points per game, they're at the top. 33.4 points is what they're scoring on average per game. This could turn into a damn shootout. Oh, but wait, Tim, we got rain in the forecast. Yeah. So this is going to get really interesting. And
if we get into a shootout with Detroit, elements aside, we're going to lose the game. We have to be good on defense. We have to get stops. We have to find a way to get off the field on third downs. I have no doubts that our offense is going to generate points. We're going to put points on the board. Detroit's defense is no slouch either. They're banged up, but they've got a good defense as well. They play complementary football. I think we can hang with them offensively, but if this is score for score back and forth and we're not getting stops, that's not going to favor us. If we can play fundamentally sound on defense and get some key stops, maybe create some turnovers like we're known to do, make Jared Goff uncomfortable, that'll put us in a situation to hopefully get a score or two lead and try and hang on to it. But I hope we don't get into a shootout with them. I really do, because I think that doesn't favor the matchup. I think us grinding it out, playing disciplined defense, getting it done, and then manufacturing points out there on offense, that's our keys to win. If Detroit puts up 30 plus, or this is one of those type of games, doesn't look good for us. That's just my opinion. I like a low scoring sloppy game in the elements, playing good defense, and points are going to be a premium on Sunday. So I think that's the formula. I really do. We got to be good against the run, and we got to get pressure to Jared Goff. We can't let him be comfortable out there. The defense is the X factor in this game for sure.
Yeah. And when you go to NFL team yards per rush attempt this year, Detroit is fifth best in the league at 5.1, actually tied for fourth. And Green Bay is currently sitting in the number 8 spot at 4.9. So you got two teams that are top 10 running teams, right? There's no two ways about it. Two top 10 rushing teams. Now, when we go look at the rushing defense, if I can find it here, let's go yards per rush attempt, which in my opinion is way more important than rushing yards per game. Detroit is actually significantly lower. They're giving up 4.7 rushing yards per attempt. Green Bay.
Hear that, Josh? You hear that? Let's go, Josh.
And in Green Bay is 8th in the league in rushing yards per attempt allowed at 4.3. So Detroit has the slightly more productive running game in yards per attempt, right? And Green Bay has the much better run defense this year, a legit top 10 run defense at only 4.3 yards per attempt. So this is, if it does rain, Tim, and the passing game is really, really limited, and let's just say that Jordan doesn't go because of growing, and you got Malik Willis out there running that run-heavy offense that we seen against Indianapolis early in the year and against the Tennessee Titans.
Yep.
This is starting to look like, you know what, boys? Might want to look at taking that plus 3.5 for Green Bay. I'm just saying.
We're getting that dub, man. It's coming.
I hope you're right.
And I love that you talked about their yards per attempt on the run defense, 4.7 yards, right? Yeah. Isn't that like exactly what Josh Jacobs is averaging per carry right now? I think he's like 4.5 yards or something per carry.
I think it was up to 4 point. I think it might have been 4.6 or 4.9. I can't remember. But
there you go. So the math is mathing. I mean, we don't play on paper; we play on the field. But absolutely. I mean, if that's what they're known to be giving up, and this is what Josh produces on a weekly basis, this could be another huge game for Josh Jacobs, right? 120 plus yards, hopefully a couple of scores, hopefully, 20 to 25, maybe even 30 carries. We'll see how they distribute the workload and what the game plan is. But hey, who knows? For all we know, Tupac LaFleur might be like, man, who gives a shit about the rain? Let's go. You know what I mean? Let's go. Let's have Malik throwing that ball all over the yard. You never know. Just catch him off guard, right?
Yeah. And so when it comes to yards per carry, Jaden Reed obviously leading the team with 10 yards per carry, hitting those gashers on the end around early in the year. Hasn't been working lately. You guys know I've been very vocal about that. Malik Willis, 8.6 yards per rush attempt. Obviously, you got to kind of put that in consideration, or put that, in perspective, I should say. Malik Willis doing a lot of scrambling. That can inflate those numbers too, the 20-yard gainers, things like that. Bo Melton, 6.8, obviously with the end around with Bo with that speed that the listeners were talking about earlier. And then Josh Jacobs, 4.6 yards per attempt. Okay. Right behind him, Emmanuel Wilson, 4.4 yards per attempt. Okay. So those two backs seem to be, all right, let's press into that. And if Malik Willis is your quarterback, let's make them have to account for that RPR. Let's make them have to account for that six-back offense for sure. If this wasn't a rain game, I wouldn't feel nowhere near as good about this matchup right now. If this was in the Dome in Detroit, I'd be sitting there going, with Jordan banged up, might be hard to get the passing game going, it would kind of favor the Detroit Lions. But the way this is sitting here, man, and also you take into consideration this too, Tim. If I still got, I may have delayed. I think I delayed. No, here it is. This, throw this into the mix too, that nobody on the planet is giving the Packers a chance to win this game. This feels like the recipe for a trap game for Detroit. It really does, man. Hope that's the case. Really do. And it's going to come down to who's actually playing in the game. Obviously, the injury report's going to play a big thing. Randy Cleaver's in the chat. Detroit is due for a bad game, and we're going to give it to them. Hey, again, you're going out there, you're playing with the house's money. Nobody's expecting you to win. There's going to be elements involved. You have the better run defense. Yeah, let's go out there and smack Goff in the mouth. Let's do it. Yep. If you jump out to an early lead and they have to pass in the elements, and one of the high points for us this year, according to PFF, has been our coverage grade. Kind of makes sense, right? And then
Crap City.
Also, we're not just let's pin our ears back and rush 4. We like to do a lot of these simulated pressures and the mugging and everything. The recipe for the last 2 weeks and getting pressure on Goff has been that. Now, don't get me wrong. They've won the ball games. You got to take that into consideration too. But, yeah, I like what Deadfish said here too, man. We played pretty well against Detroit in the last meeting, and now we got safeties, and they don't have Hutchinson. Listen, year to year, everything changes. Last year's Thanksgiving matchup is going to be totally different from this year's. But, Deadfish, you make a great point, man. You really do. Our safety room is much better, and they don't have their best pass rusher.
Yep.
It is what it is. And Ben Johnson was their OC last year when they faced us, right? Now, he may look at facing us totally different this year. I'm trying to think of if Detroit has played anybody, Tim, and I'm going to go look real quick, and if you want to take over for a second, I'm going to see if Detroit's played anyone that runs our defense this year. So they beat the Titans. They don't run our defense. They beat the Vikings. They don't run our defense. The Cowboys don't run our defense. The Seahawks do not run our defense to the best of my knowledge. They haven't faced anyone that runs our defense. They haven't faced the Jets. They haven't faced the Niners. They haven't faced, if I'm looking at it correctly here, they haven't faced Houston, right? They got the Texans after us. So this is going to be the first time that they've seen this Robert Saleh style defense, and it looks like Hafley's taken a lot out of Minnesota's playbook with the double A.
They haven't really played outside in the elements this year either. This will be kind of new territory for them, having to come outside and play in November in Lambeau. So I will say this, man, it's Detroit, and one thing I know about Dan Campbell and those guys is
he's gonna have them
ready. They're going to be ready, and they will not hesitate to run a reverse or some crazy trick play just to catch us off guard. Especially rain or shine, if we get too aggressive with that pass rush, they will throw a play action bomb down the field. I fully anticipate it. So always be alert for that. Any of the little gadget plays, those kind of things. Detroit's known for doing that at the moment you least expect it also. So always something you got to consider.
Yeah. And when you look at the teams they beat, here's who they beat so far this year, guys. They beat the Rams. They lost to the Buccaneers. They beat the Cardinals. They beat the Seahawks. They beat it doesn't have their record list. I'd love to know what their record is now, but it doesn't matter. They beat the Seahawks at home. They beat the Cowboys on the road. You guys know the Cowboys are in an absolute tailspin right now. They beat the Vikings on the road only by 2 points. Keep in mind, we lost to the Vikings by 2 points. So I think the Vegas line is right there at that plus 3.5. I think that really is an accurate line. And then versus the Titans, they beat them 52-14, which the Titans are obviously one of the worst teams in the league. And some people are probably going, listen, all I heard that week that we beat the Titans were horrible. So now all of a sudden we're not allowed to mention that the reason the Lions beat boat racing was because the Titans are horrible. You know, ain't it funny how that works, Tim? Like we beat the Lions or we beat the Titans, beat the brakes off of them. Well, they're a bad team. And then everybody's like, look what they did to the Titans, the Detroit Lions. Okay, so that doesn't apply now? Like, what are we doing? What are we doing?
Yep.
Funny how that works. But anyway, that's kind of a look at how their schedule has shaken out to this point. I want to take one last look at something, and then we'll go ahead and wrap this big bear up.
Not this guy, right? You don't want to look at this guy.
Please, God, no. So looking at the coverages and kind of what the Lions are doing, listen, they got one of the best overall passing defenses in the league. Their EPA per dropback is minus 0.07. But again, we talked about their run defense being the weaker point of their defense. It's not that they're horrible, but the Packers have a much better run defense, statistically speaking. The coverages that they play, so they play 37% of the time they play cover one man. All right. So they're in man coverage a lot. We talk about this all offseason. They run man coverage second most in the league. And they've got one of the bottom half run defenses as far as yards per attempt. Remember what we talked about man coverage, Tim?
Yep.
You run on man coverage. You want to run the football on man coverage.
Yep.
Especially with some of like the delayed draws and stuff that Matt LaFleur ran early in his career, and he's really gotten away from it. But little RPR look, and if you read man coverage, hand that ball off. And if they try to fire one of those guys and they got a safety late rotating down, you might be able to hit a lookie or two or a bubble on that RPO look. You might see the reemergence of the RPO game.
Little pistol, little quick pitch or something. Yeah, I'm all for it, man. If they want to line up, man up, let's go. Let's run the ball down their throats. Let's do it.
So they're either playing cover one man, cover four zone, or cover three zone is what they're playing. It's a large majority of the time. You got cover one man 37% of the time. You got cover four zone 20% of the time. You got cover three 18% of the time. Everything else is under 10%. So you're going to see a lot of cover one man, I would imagine. Now, how do you beat cover one man? There's a multitude of ways that you can beat it. In cover one man, typically they play outside leverage because they got help over the middle. Are they going to bring a blitz or not? Are they going to pressure? Okay, that's going to be the big question on whether or not they're playing cover one hole, cover one robber, right? And with robber, it's real simple. One of the safeties rotate down, cover middle zone. So what you're doing is outside technique with the corners because you got inside help in zone, right, with the cover one man look. That's going to be the big thing. When it comes to bringing pressure, too, like cover 0, 4% of the time, I'm trying to just take a quick glance. So they're playing cover two man 9% of the time. It's going to be cover one man the majority of the day. Now, it might not be to the tune of 37%. That might drop down to 28%, right? But the majority of what you're going to see defensively is going to be cover one man. The elements, their play style on defense, the statistics, it all lines up for if you got Josh Jacobs on your fantasy team, make sure he's starting this week. And you might want to look at the over on Emmanuel Wilson or Chris Brooks. I would say Emmanuel Wilson over Chris Brooks, but might want to go and look at DraftKings Sportsbook or BetUS and see what the prop bet is on Emmanuel Wilson. And maybe look for some easy money there on the over because, again, it's going to be – Packers going to have to press into the run. They're going to have to do it. And with this weather forecast now, Tim, I'm almost to the point where I'm like, you know what, let's let Jordan rest up. Let's trot Malik out there and make sure Jordan gets healthy, right? Yeah. I know you like to dive in every week to what officials are going to be on the field, right? Have you had time to do any research on that?
Here's the guy.
Oh, who is this guy? Talk to him.
Cleet Blakeman.
Okay.
I mean, he's not Ron Tolbert, but
I wish there's got to be a stat. I apologize for chewing, but this we're giving out Halloween candy today, and this Tootsie Roll was just staring me in the eye. I had to do it. Sponsor the show, Tootsie Roll. So I wonder if there's a way we can get statistics on NFL officials. NFL officials stats. I would love to see all refer. Look at this. All
here you go. Here's all you need right here. Look at him and Raj, buddy.
Why does he look pinged up too? My man looked like he'd been on the marching powder or something or two. Allegedly. All right. All right. So I've got a website that probably ain't even accurate. We're going to pull it up in 2023. It's got the 2023. Actually, it's got 2024. Oh, looky here. Tim, I got to put this on the screen. We may go over, but you're going to appreciate the hell out of this, bud. I found a website that shows the officials that's thrown the most flags. Can you guess who's number one?
Ronnie boy?
Look at here. Number one on the list, Ron Tolbert.
Hey, I knew it. Now here's the guy who likes his flags.
Now, Tim, look who's second. Cleet Blakeman. Oh, my God. Now, here's the deal with holding calls this year. The trend we're seeing, I get emotional over it, too. The trend we're seeing is they are calling holding on runs, is what I'm understanding. They're letting a lot of stuff go in the passing game on holds, but in the running game, they're calling a bunch of holds. So, rain game,
Oh, man.
a lot of running. This might be a flag fest. Whatever the over is on the flags this week, take it. If you can find a crappy little site that lets you bet on that aspect. I'm trying to see. They don't differentiate between running plays or passing plays here, do they? Let's see. No, I don't look like it. So with Cleet Blakeman,
Wait a
he
second.
throws-
Lions hate this guy. That's good.
hey,
Look
that's
at-
great. That's what we're wanting.
Lions fans complaining. Okay. All right.
And here's the thing, too. With Cleet Blakeman, more flags are thrown against the away team, right, than the home team. He's averaging 8.7 flags for the away team and only 7.5 flags for the home team. Now, look at Ron Tolbert, totally the opposite. Ron Tolbert throwing the hell out of that flag against the home team.
He just likes to be on camera. He likes that he gets to walk and be on camera, turn the mic on. I like Randy Cleaver's here. Where are the PFF grades for officials?
There you go. We need to start that, Tim. We need to do that. We need to have the official of the week and the official cheeks of the week or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I guarantee you it'd be real simple. Whoever threw the least amount of flags will win the official of the week. And that's it.
Exactly.
That's all it would be. Forget context. Forget what actually happened on the field and whether it did warrant a flag. We just want to see less flags, period. So, but Cleet Blakeman, man, he's leading the league right now in yardage, looks like, isn't he?
Yep.
At 1,022 yards of. This is not good, guys. This is
look at Omer. Rasheed Walker going to have a long day.
It's so true.
Oh man.
Hey, man. So what I need to do is bookmark this site, though, man. This is a kind of a cool site where we can look at the officials each week and kind of get. I'm just saying, be mentally prepared for a lot of flags. Right, gonna happen.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Hold up a second. Is he leading the league and he hasn't even officiated? Like they've only had 7 games.
Yep.
Oh my God, dude. This guy is. He's leading the league in yardage and overall count penalties. I guess with his crew, is that how that works?
I think so. Yeah.
And this is only 7 games, and Ron Tolbert has been in 8. That's wild. Yeah, get ready, boys. I'm just closing it. I'm starting to get pissed off now. There are going to be a lot of flags this Sunday. Just get mentally prepared, okay? All right. Anything else, Tim? Anything else you want to cover, bud?
No, man. I think we hit a lot today. This was great. Morning shows are back. I love it.
Yeah, man. We'll start to sprinkle them in. There'll be more each week. And once we get into probably the 3rd or 4th week of November, we'll be doing a morning show every day for sure. Now, we got trick-or-treating this evening. We got a whole setup. I think Mandy had to take a loan out to get all the candy that we purchased for the kids here, to be honest with you. That was me when I seen the box. I'm like, what is this? It was just loaded with just nothing but snacks. Now, I've been trying to stash the Reese cups. I've been trying to hide them all over the house.
See, you're like me. Those right away. Throw a couple in the fridge, throw a couple in the freezer, hide a couple in the cupboard. Yeah.
Tim, if I had your metabolism, bro, I'm just telling you right now, I would eat 7,000 calories of Reese cups a day. But they
been there, done that. It was amazing.
The white chocolate Reese cups. Oh my God. Have you tried them, Tim?
No, I haven't.
Bro,
I'm not a big white chocolate guy, but
there's
if it's
something
a Reese,
about
I'll try it.
They're good, man. They're good. But the pumpkins, the traditional pumpkins, though, oh my God. Straight diabetes right here, man. This is going to be me. That's me when Mandy walks in with the Reese cups. I'm like, where are those Reese cups at? I come creeping in the kitchen.
And this is me when Mrs. Green comes in and says, where are they? I say, they're over there somewhere. Don't worry about it. Forget about it.
This is how I had to load the candy into the house, man. I had to get Tucker out here with the forklift. So
Mandy's over here looking like flag on the play.
All right, this show sucks. We're out of here. We'll see y'all. Here's what I was getting at with the track. I got sidetracked with food, man. My double chin took over. We're going to be doing trick or treating, I think, around 5 or 6 my time. There's a chance we could do a show in the afternoon, but I got a lot I got to get done. I got to run out of town. We got to go vote. Everybody get out and vote. Don't care who you vote for. Just make sure you vote. Get your voice heard. Got to go vote. Got to go run a couple errands. If I get back in time, we'll probably go live at about probably about 2:30 Eastern, which will be about 1:30 your time, maybe, Tim.
Okay.
I'll see how it shakes out. I'm not going to schedule it because I don't want to mislead anybody, but you guys may see an afternoon show pop up here in a little bit, but definitely not one
for that time then to get back myself.
Cool. Sounds good, man. All right. Help me out here, Tim, if you can. I don't know if you got it queued up. But,
that's all right. I can do it. For those of you listening on the pod,
thank you for making us a part of your day. As always, let's go out and be the change we want to see in the world. And go Pack Go. Happy Halloween.